Welcome back, guys, to another video. It's been a very eventful week in gaming. So we have lots of other stuff here to talk about this Friday, starting off here with a huge announcement here from Microsoft and a deal that they have signed with Intel to create custom chips going forward for their hardware, you would assume here. So it says here, Intel will be producing custom chips designed by Microsoft for Microsoft as part of the deal that Intel says is worth more than $15 billion. This was announced at the Intel Foundry event, so a huge $15 billion deal. Now, Microsoft or Intel haven't specified what the chips would be used for, but Microsoft has been planning in-house designs for both processors and AI accelerators. And this is a quote here from CEO Satya Nadella saying, "We are in the midst of a very exciting platform shift that will fundamentally transform productivity for every individual organization and the entire industry." Now, you can kind of extrapolate that out and to how they're going to be using these Intel chips in different ways and varieties. But the major question here that I have is, does this mean that Xbox is going to be using Intel as their SoC for the next upcoming Xbox consoles? We've heard the rumors about the next Xbox consoles. There is going to be that at-home one that is just like a regular console that you connect to your TV. And then there's going to be another SKU of a Switch-like portable style Xbox hardware. I mean, all of this is rumors. None of this has been confirmed, but we have been seeing those handheld PCs, specifically MSI, coming out with an Intel chip inside of it. So maybe Xbox is looking at the future and being able to develop these custom chips that they're going to be using going forward, and seeing what's out there on the market and thinking that that may be the way forward for Xbox. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. I mean, this is kind of cool. They're going to be shifting away from AMD if this is true. If they do bring this over to the Xbox consoles, it will potentially be different than what PlayStation has. One of the things this generation is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X both use AMD chips. They're both essentially the exact same under the hood. Obviously, one is slightly more powerful than the other. There's different clock rates as well, but overall, I mean, they're very, very similar. But if maybe in the next gen, they are going to be with completely different manufacturers. Maybe Xbox is Intel and PlayStation sticks with AMD. So interesting here, a huge, huge deal, $15 billion that could shape the future of Microsoft and Xbox in a completely different way from what we are seeing right now with them using the AMD chip. Now, let's jump over here. Let's talk about an awesome just stealth drop again onto Xbox Game Pass that came out of seemingly nowhere. That is Dead Island 2 shadow dropped into Xbox Game Pass in the cloud. Now, when this first happened, there was a lot of questions whether this was just a mistake or not, because Dead Island 2 was a part of the free-to-play days, and when games are a part of the free-to-play days, it looks like it is also on Xbox Game Pass, but it's just for that small period of time. But that ended on the 18th, and then we saw this popping up, and I had to ask, was this a mistake or not? It ends up it is not a mistake, and you can go right now and play Dead Island 2 on Xbox Game Pass. You can go ahead and download it. It says here, Xbox Game Pass has recently added the critically acclaimed Dead Island 2 to its library of games with no formal announcement. Xbox Game Pass subscribers can download and play Dead Island 2 through Xbox consoles and PCs and stream via cloud gaming, of course, because it is a part of the Ultimate membership. And I mean, the game itself, Dead Island 2 is one that I've always wanted to jump into and play. It looked really, really good when it did first come out. I just never got to it. And now it's here for me to go ahead and download right away. The other thing here that I find super interesting when it comes to Dead Island 2 launching into Xbox Game Pass is that they're shadow dropping this. Now, if we take a look at their just most recent Xbox Game Pass announcements, it wasn't the biggest one. There are some good games there, but if Dead Island 2 would have been a part of that announcement, it would have made that slate of games, I think, stand out more. And it wasn't there. So it's kind of weird how Xbox does this sometimes, where some of their bigger games that they do drop into the servers just kind of come out of nowhere. There's no real marketing or fanfare around it. It just shows up on social media because people see it on their Xbox console, and there it is. It's kind of, to me, a missed opportunity from a marketing communications perspective to really highlight the fact that this game is coming to Game Pass. Maybe they will do it in the future. Maybe there will be a look at this and showing that it's an added value to the Game Pass subscription, but it's just funny. And you think about some other times that they have done this, like I think Outriders as well, way back a couple couple years ago came out of nowhere that dropped into Game Pass just before its release and stuff. So it's kind of interesting how Xbox does this. But again, this is another huge, awesome value added feature where we just get games out of nowhere onto Game Pass, big drops that get people excited. Remnant was another one that just randomly dropped into the service, Remnant 1 and Remnant 2. So funny times here, but great to see that Dead Island 2 is coming over to Xbox Game Pass. Now, let's jump over here and let's talk about some PlayStation VR 2. I am a PSVR 2 owner, and ever since I have purchased the headset, I have kind of regretted it. Not because I don't think the headset is great and the tech is great. I think it is actually a very, very good headset. There's just no real big first-party games or anything along those lines, and I don't really foresee them developing and making that many more. They've had no announcements. They have given us really nothing to get excited about from the first-party perspective from PlayStation Studios and bringing out more games like they did with the Horizon game that they did bring out. Now, that isn't to say there are third-party games, but the PlayStation Store, when it comes to VR, is way more limited than if you are getting a headset for PC and you're able to access games through Steam or through other launchers out there. And it looks like PlayStation is now doing the smart thing to keep this headset alive. And it is bringing this headset over to PC, giving PC support to PSVR 2 owners. So it says here, Sony's PlayStation VR 2 headset is designed to work exclusively with the PlayStation 5, but the company is now testing out support for PC. While the original PSVR headset got unofficial support for PC, Sony now says it's working on allowing PSVR 2 owners to connect the headset to a PC gaming rig. Specifically here from a blog post, we're pleased to share that we are currently testing the ability for PSVR 2 players to access additional games on PC to offer even more game variety in addition to the PSVR 2 titles available through the PlayStation 5. They say we hope to make this support available in 2024, so stay tuned for updates. So this is coming this year, which is great. And I feel like this is Sony, this is PlayStation realizing they have to pivot in every facet of their business. They need to stop with this closed ecosystem if they want to continue to grow, if they don't want to just put out peripherals like this and then end up cutting them off because they're not giving it their own support. This is really smart. I mean, they could now advertise and release a PSVR 2 headset for a relatively affordable price. Maybe they cut the price a bit of it and tell people that you can pick this up and you can connect it to all of your devices out there. And I feel like because it is actually a good headset, the technology in there is very adequate. The controllers are great. People will consider it as an option to play PSVR games or just play VR games in general. So awesome to see this. Happy it's finally coming in. Hopefully this means I will be putting my headset to more use. Ironically, I actually have used my PSVR 2 in the last week or so more than I've used it over the last year. So we'll see how this all ends up happening, and should be a pretty easy setup. It's just a USB-C that you're going to plug right into your PC, and then you're going to have access to everything. There was a bypasses before that you could do, but you couldn't really get the full VR experience. And if they implement all that with the haptics, the headset rumble and stuff into PC games, I think that's great. Very, very happy to hear that. All right, let's jump over and let's talk about this here because we got all the news yesterday about the official games coming over to PlayStation 5 and to Nintendo Switch from Xbox first party. We know the 4 games are Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Grounded, and Hi-Fi Rush. Now we have a bit more information as to how all of this stuff works in terms of accounts, logging in, trophies, and things like that. This is from Steven Titillo saying, some details about some Xbox games. Pentiment for the Switch and PlayStation. No Xbox login is involved. No cross-save, but it has trophies on PlayStation. I mean, it's a single-player game, so that makes sense. Grounded for the Switch and PlayStation requires a Nintendo or Sony service for online, so you still have to pay for that online service. I can't imagine how crazy it would have gotten if somehow Grounded had a workaround where you didn't have to pay for the online service on PlayStation or Nintendo. And it says here, Microsoft sign-in allows cross-play, cross-save, shared worlds, and trophies on PlayStation. So that's pretty cool. You're going to be able to link your Microsoft account, I guess, to whatever system you're playing it on, Switch or PlayStation, and then bring over everything you've had in terms of saves and crossplay from wherever else you were playing a PC or Xbox. So you're going to be able to play this game multiple different ways and have all of your content in there. So that's how that's going to work. There's no more information here for Sea of Thieves, but I'm assuming it's going to act very similarly here to Grounded in terms of you can sign in via your Microsoft and get all of your information and content there as well. Okay, let's jump over here. Let's look at this because looks like it's a pretty cool game. Their fighting scene, the fighting games have just exploded this year and last year with you got Street Fighter, you got Tekken, you got Mortal Kombat, all great games. And there's another one trying to enter the realm here, and that is Project L, which is now officially titled 2XKO or 2 times KO. It's a 2v2 tag based fighting game from Riot. You can see here it has like that anime style. I like fighting games. See, this kind of like a Guilty Gear look to it, but obviously with the Riot touch. So cool that they are bringing out a fighting game, and I feel like this is one that is going to be pretty good. As we know, there is that connection with Game Pass and Riot and Xbox. I wonder if this is one of those games that will be added into the Game Pass service to be able to download and play. If it is, I will definitely be checking out, but another fighting game jumping in here. We'll see how this one does. All right, we have this here, and this one is pretty interesting. Third Kind Games, who I believe has previously worked on Hearthstone and Forza Horizon 4, as it's mentioned here in Clobro's tweet, is assisting on Fable for the development of Fable. Obviously, I mean, they've worked on Forza Horizon previously with Playground, so it seems like it is a team that they are familiar with and would make a lot of sense, but Fable is one of those games everyone is very excited for. This is one that Xbox can't miss on. They need to knock this one out of the park, whether that means waiting longer than they expect to get this out. This just can't come out in a bad state. And I'm guessing we're going to see more Fable at this year's summer showcase. Probably one of my most anticipated game for Xbox. But now, as you can see here, they're getting some assistance from a third-party studio to probably help push this game along and push it further to its eventual release. So we'll see how this all ends up. I mean, as of right now, I don't think there's any real fear as to how Fable is looking and how it's going to end up, because from what they've shown off, it looks really, really cool. And again, I hope we do see more about this at this year's summer showcase. And finally, just to end things off here, some more amazing deals here on the Xbox store. If you're looking for some great sales on some awesome games, I mean, you can go through here and you can see it, but there's up to 90% off of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. You can get It Takes Two up to 80% off, which a previous game of the year winner, one of the best co-op games that I've played. It's phenomenal. You can get 90% off the Celebration Edition of Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is like €3.50, I believe, or pounds. So very big, good deals here from everything from EA, mainly from their indie studios that they have making games like A Way Out, It Takes Two, and lots of games here to check out and play. So make sure to go check out those deals if you're looking for some games to add to your owned digital collection going forward. This is one thing about Xbox is Game Pass is incredible value, but there's always awesome sales. And if you're anyone like me, you see these sales for games that are like $5, $7, $3. I always end up picking them up. So I have a huge back catalog of games that eventually I do need to jump into and play. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.